G'day. Welcome to Aussievision and welcome to our first very exciting preview video of the new Aussievision year and the new Eurovision year. My name is Craig, and this evening I am joined by three of my lovely contributors. We have Sam, Fleur, and Cooper. How you all going, guys?
Hello, everyone.
Going good.
Yeah, all right.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. After a quiet couple of weeks in the first bit of January, we now have our first large weekend of national finals this weekend. This weekend we have Spain, Belgium, and Slovenia, and we've just had Greece this morning. So it's very exciting, and I'm very excited to talk about all this with you all. Let's kick off with the one that's probably going to be most controversial, probably going to get us the most hate mail, and is probably the most exciting this weekend. It's Benidorm Fest, always a highlight of the Eurovision calendar. Um, the second semi-final took place this morning. That's Friday morning here in Australia. And it seems like, based on what I've heard, there was a very clear winner and lead act which is going into Sunday. And that is Melody with Essa Diva. Um, Cooper, what do you make of this act? Do you think it's the clear winner? Are you agreeing with what I'm seeing online?
Yeah, look, so when the songs all came out, I was like, I don't really care for this song. It was like, I still cannot tell you the melody, could not sing it back to you. But the staging, that was the most Eurovision ready performance I've seen in any national final this year so far. It was incredible. Within like what? Not even, we haven't hit the first chorus. She was already flying down from the sky on a swing, on a long train, threw the train off. She's on the floor. She gets off the floor, another costume reveal, and then we kick into the first chorus. It was insane. So yeah, I this is my Benidorm Fest winner. So I'm right on board to it now.
Yeah, completely get that. It's a very exciting performance, although it is a bit ironic that you couldn't remember the melody, given that her name is Melody.
Melody.
But Sam, do you agree with that? Is it a memorable melody?
Oh yeah, definitely. So she's got the most Spotify streams going into the final. She's second favorite with the bookies. I think personally, think she's the favorite. I thought that it had the most impactful and addictive chorus, in my opinion. And she had some sound issues in the semi-final. There were some disastrously bad vocal moments in the bridge, but even that couldn't put her off. As I agree with Cooper, there were great use of camera angles, and I think overall it's the best performance in terms of production and energy in Benidorm. I think the big question is, can she live up to the big name hype? A bit like Samantha Mumba in Ireland next week. Will it help or hinder her? But I think with this strong tune, I think she's definitely in with a really good shot. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely hear where you're coming from. And to be honest, disastrously bad vocal moments are kind of a Benidorm Fest tradition at this point. So, you know what? I have faith. Fleur, what do you think of this one?
Ah, you know what? The Spanish are going to come at me with pitchforks because this is the only song I actually like off the eight. It's a
Bit grim.
standout because, as Cooper said, it's Eurovision ready, but it's also it's the most memorable.
Hmm.
The performance is just giving, and like I said, I'm actually struggling to find anything with the other seven songs. So based on that, I'm going for melody, which is awful to say, but it's the truth.
And a very positive review there from Fleur. Um, I think my view on this is that I am really impressed by the staging. And like Chanel, there was a bit of a moment where I didn't hear this in the studio, but the moment I saw it at live, I got it. I still think this song is a bit dated, and I don't think there's anything particularly exciting about it. And I also don't think it sounds that different to a lot of the other songs that are in Benidorm Fest this year. But what is different and what makes it stand out is her and the staging and the way that she interacts with the camera. She comes across as more of a personality than the other acts in Benidorm Fest this year, I think. And I think that while I'm not that hot on a lot of the acts in Benidorm Fest this year, if they're going to send something, and I mean they have to really because they paid the entry fee, haven't they? So if they're going to send something, it should be her. Um, but interestingly, coming into the start of the week with Benidorm Fest, I wouldn't say that Melody was perhaps the act I'd seen or heard the most about. And that act, I would say, is La Chispa, possibly, if I'm mispronouncing that, apologies, don't come at me, Spain, with her song that I am also not going to try and pronounce, but it's very exciting. This song was a big favorite coming in, but then over the week, I've sort of seen it star dim a little bit, and I'm not sure if it's got the same hype going into Sunday as it had coming into the first semi-final. Fleur, do you think that's right? Do you think that this was a good song? Did you enjoy the song to start with? And do you think the live has affected how you view it?
Yeah, funny how you said, Is this, did I enjoy the start of it? I did. I liked the start of it. And then she goes on to that chorus where she just starts, wailing. And I understand the song's about crying, so I get that. But oh my God, my ears. It was all that stuff that had gone on the first part of the song was just all undone in that chorus. I have
Yeah,
to admit
no.
it. It's yeah. But look, I can see Spanish fans getting behind it. That makes complete sense to me. It's
Mhm.
just the rest of us who are actually voting for it. No.
There's a real Spanish vibe behind it, and I'm not
Mm.
surprised to see the Spanish fans who are always very passionate getting excited about this. But yeah, I can't disagree with how it was performed on the Tuesday. Sam, what did you think of this?
Yeah, I pretty much have to agree with Fleur. Like she has a very unique vocal timbre. And I found the stage in the beginning quite fascinating, but I do think it's a little bit too quirky, maybe even for Benidorm Fest and Eurovision. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Blanca Paloma, and we all know how that went at Eurovision, bombed out in the televote. So I think Spain should probably choose something relatively mainstream, but also kind of stereotypically Spanish, which is why I'm Team Melody. But yeah, given its similarities to Blanca Paloma, I can understand why the bookies have installed it as the favorite, and has the second most streams out of all the Benidorm entries. So I think we're in for a two-horse race there, I think.
Yeah, interesting to hear that you think that like Melody is going to finish ahead. I can't disagree after what I've seen this week, but I also came in quite positive on Let's Just Be Song, so it's been a bit disappointing for me. Cooper, did you like this song to start with? Has the live affected it, or were you always a bit sort of iffy on it?
It is a great studio track. I think if we're going to compare it to Blanca, even though very different songs, it is very modern. It really comes in with that booming bass. The problem is in that live performance, the staging does nothing for it. When it's supposed to, like, it changes, the song changes, so the staging should as well. Once that starts kicking in, there should have been strobes. There should have been literal just lighting. There was just one stage light basically illuminating the whole thing. There was no movement or kinetic energy, which this song needs. Um, and like they said, Spain loves to vote for songs like this. Blanca Paloma, last year, we had them as well. Like, these are songs that the Spanish fans vote for, but it's great for Benidorm winner, concerned if it went to Eurovision in this package that it is.
Yeah, I was actually more positive on this. I think I was one of the higher rankers when Aussievision did their poll on Benidorm this year. I'm really impressed by the production on it, and it's interesting that I think Cooper describes it as modern because I think it really marries the modern with the sort of traditional flamenco sound, which is also where Samuel's comments about Blanca Paloma come from. So I was really positive going in, and then I watched the live performance, and I must say, the spirit of Aiko at ESCZ felt like she was watching over this performance, and I'm not sure if that was a good thing for Let's Just Burn the Night. The initial verse vocals worked well. I thought she sort of had an interesting energy to her, but the moment she hits that chorus, maybe she was nervous. I don't want to like attack someone's performance abilities because she's more talented than I am, but something wasn't working on that evening, and I am concerned about how she'd go in an even bigger stage if we make it to Basel in May. Interestingly though, Legispa, despite being a bit of a fan favorite online, wasn't the Aussievision winner in our poll, and indeed the Aussievision winner, unfortunately, didn't even make it out of the semi-final. So in the Aussievision poll, we had Kingdom first and Sonia Iselina third. Neither of them are still with us, RIP. And do you think that was deserved, Cooper? Was it right?
Well, I don't agree with Aussie Vision about Kingdom. That song was boring as a studio track. It was boring as a performance. She just stood there and she did nothing. It was a couple of like two color palette. That's it. The divas though. Oh, I was upset. What I saw all over the internet, that is Galinda and Elphaba in about 50 years' time full of Botox. They were excellent. I love that. And I was like, this is Spanish public vote bait. I was shocked that it didn't get through.
I am horrified and shocked and disappointed to hear this kingdom slander, despite the fact that the nation of Spain did exactly the same thing. So, Sam, save us. Please give us some positive comments about Kingdom, please.
Sorry, I'm on the same side of the fence as Cooper and Spain. Um, yeah, I don't know. It just didn't do anything for me personally. And then in the last repeat of the chorus, she went very off tune. So I'm actually not very surprised it didn't qualify. I'm sorry, Craig. Sonia and Salema, I do agree. I'm genuinely very surprised they didn't qualify because of the fantastic staging and production and late running order. A bit off tune and out of time and parts, but we had bigger disasters, on the Benidorm stage, off the Camp Richter scale, and apparently, this did come top four in the public vote, but the jury buried it. And I think this proves the Benidorm jury might have a bit too much influence. I've been thinking this for a few years. To the extent that in the second semi-final, when the jury were announcing their top four, the crowd was actually chanting for Sonia and Selena as a sort of protest. So, yeah, I think they were robbed. Yeah, but sorry, not on the same side as you for Kingdom, Craig. Sorry, I have to go to Fleur on that one.
I wouldn't. She's going to say the same thing.
I
I'm
am.
not angry. I'm just
How'd you
disappointed.
guess?
Fleur, save me, please.
I
Help me.
can't. I'm sorry, but I'm Team Cooper and Sam on this one. I didn't get Kingdom either. I did not vote on the Aussievision rankings. But when I heard it, I'm like, yeah, number one. Okay, I've missed something there too, but that's what I thought. But clearly I haven't, because I agree with what you two are saying, and obviously the Spanish public spoke too. But I did like Sonia and Selena. That would have been fun. I did like it. Yeah.
So I would describe myself as being on Team Kingdom, but unfortunately that team consists of one person, and as we all know, there is no I in team. So I am going to just say that I just liked Kingdom. Most of the reason I liked it was that it reminded me a little bit of Noche en Terra a couple of years ago, which I was a big fan of. And in a sort of weak Benidorm year, it was nice to be reminded of better songs, I must say. Sonia y Selena, I was here for it. It was camp. I liked the wicked vibes. My main issue was that I just maybe I'm gonna get killed here, but it didn't seem like that different a song from Melody's song. They sort of felt like the same song sung by two different groups. They were like sort of campy pop things sung by a bit of a camp diva. And I just was like, why do we need both of these? And I think Melody clearly outsells in the second semi-final. So loved it, loved them. Please come back. But I'm not that sad to be losing them, if I'm honest. But that's Benidorm Fest. It will be very interesting. I think it's perhaps a more competitive lineup in the sense of like, I'm not sure quite who's going to win on the weekend. But before we move on to our next national final, I'd like to ask you all, do you see Spain's representative at Eurovision this year among this lineup? Fleur, who do you see winning on Sunday?
Melody. I think the Spotify charts speak for itself. Public are going to vote, so I think that is probably suited to more of the voters.
Cooper.
I'm going to say Melody, but I think it's going to be a two-horse race between her and the Kiss, but I'm going to get and I pronounce it wrong as well. But I also want to just quick shout out to VIP. I'm sorry, that is a dark horse. That is the only other one I said is Eurovision ready. And I think that would give Spain their best public score at Eurovision.
Yeah, we haven't discussed it, but I think that's a very fair
Yeah.
comment. And particularly the staging and the lighting really leapt out to me in that one. And obviously he's very charismatic, but no, fair call that. Sam, who do you think will win on the weekend?
Oh, I'm gonna put my neck out there. I think the juries are gonna ruin the party and put Laka Chispa, sorry for butchering that, out, narrowly out in front. But I am hoping for Melody and Jacobello. So fingers crossed is one of those two, and I'm wrong.
And with every attempt at pronouncing that artist name, it continues to get further and further away from what it looks like on paper. No, but I think you're probably right, Sam. I think it's probably closer than people are making it out. And in particular, I note, despite your comment on the juries, they have reduced the power of the juries in this year's Benidorm Fest. They've taken out the sort of the pub, not the public jury, but the what's it called?
Demoscopical.
The demoscopic jury. And they've sort of left us with just the sort of professional jury and the public. So I think that could perhaps be a bit of a division, probably dependent to some degree on whether La Chispa, La Chispa pulls her vocals together for the final performance. But it will be interesting to see who wins. And I'm sure all of us are very excited to get up at the very convenient and slightly later time of around 8 a.m. to watch the Benidorm Fest final this Sunday. But that's not the only final happening this weekend. And indeed, my favorite and the most exciting one for me is Eurosong happening over in Brussels in Belgium. I think this is a really competitive and really great national final. We've got 8 songs competing, and quite a lot of interesting and good acts among them. So to get us started, I think the thing that everyone's noticed about Belgium is that they have conspicuously gone to the top of the odds, and a lot of people are wondering why. And I think the fair comment to make would be that the reason, whether you agree or not, would be because of a particular song, that of Red Sebastian being Strobe Lights. Um, so I'm curious to hear, first of all, what do you guys think of this song? Do you think it's particularly competitive? Do you enjoy it? And how do you think it'll go on Sunday? So I'm going to start with you, Fleur. What do you think of Strobe Lights out of these 8 songs?
I quite like it. I think it's probably the most promising song of that national final. That said, that's probably one of the stronger national finals we have.
Hmm.
Um, so I think given what we've got at the moment, I can see why Belgium is at the top if that song does get through. But that's if it gets through. My other point I want to bring up is the only thing that can hurt Belgium. Well, if they do send Red Sebastian, but what if Latvia sends the Ludwig? You've got a problem.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So interesting that you mentioned that you're not surprised that they're on top of the odds. Do you think Red Sebastian can win Eurovision?
I think at the moment, from what we've got, yes.
Okay.
Mm.
Cooper, do you agree with that?
No. It it's we still have not heard the winner of Eurovision yet out of national final season, I believe. When I first heard of this, I was like, this is easily the best song. I still think it is one of the top 2 songs. Um, it has its problems, as most songs do. I think it's a bit too the best part of the song is the first drop in that chorus, and it's all about after he sings, hits that high note, and then it really goes into that club bass. The problem is the second time it hits a bit softer, and that's not what you really want to do with a song. But like this is, I think, the best package for Eurovision. It is Belgium. We saw it Eurosong the last time. Anything can happen. So who knows?
Yeah, interesting that you
Yeah.
mentioned that it never quite hits because that's what I felt about this as well. When that first clip came out, I was really excited about this, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be so good. And then I heard the whole thing, and there was never the moment that I wanted, which was going to take this to the next level, where I was like, this is really exciting. This could win Eurovision. So completely agree with you there. Sam, what do you think of Strobe Lights?
Yeah, I think I pretty much agree what you just said, Craig, and Cooper as well. Like, I think it's a shower, not a grower. Like, it hits you straight away. But like when you think about it, it is quite a generic dance track about love at the end of the day. It is, quite generic. I think the reason maybe why it's doing predicted to do so well for Belgium is because in this national final, 6 out of the 8 entries are female and often up tempo. So that's probably why it stands out. I think Belgium is the bookie's favorite because the national final overall is very strong. It does have the most streamed, second most streamed on Spotify, sorry, favorite with the bookies, but I think it will win the national final, but maybe not as convincingly as people are predicting it, I think.
It's interesting because I think the reason why it's on top of largely because it reminds me a bit of Nemo. It's got that
Yeah.
same sort of vaguely avant-garde, vaguely sort of queer aesthetic, very sort of arty thing going on. It's not the same song as The Code. I'm not comparing those and saying they're the same, but I have the same sort of aesthetic and the same sort of vibe from this. And I think that's probably why some intern got a bit excited about this and maybe placed a bit too much money on it on the odds. Um, but interesting that you mentioned that it's not got the most streams so far, Sam. Which song does, out of curiosity?
Okay, butchering European names again. Ben, is it Ben Mentisa? Is that right,
Yes,
Craig?
it is Mentisa. I actually went around for weeks saying Montisa, and then I listened to a video and
Well,
she
you
calls
speak
herself
French,
Mentisa.
so I'm going to follow what you're saying. So that
No,
has
but
the
you're more
most.
you're more correct. It's Mentisa.
Oh, okay.
As with Désolé.
Yeah.
So another song in French, we have a bit of it going across the Benelux region this year. What do you think of Mentisha? She's a big artist in France, a big artist in Switzerland and Belgium. Do you think she's lived up to the hype in terms of the excitement when her name was first announced? Cooper.
Um, yeah, she's a big artist, especially for a national selection in a Dutch-speaking broadcaster. It's another year
Correct.
the Flanders region have not put a song in Dutch, but two songs in French. It is good. It's quite funky. For me, it's nothing incredible. If it goes to Eurovision, it's a great song. I will support it, but like, it's just there for me.
That's fair. I'm excited about the studio track of this. I can really see myself listening to this over and over for the rest of the year. I agree with you that when I first saw it live, I was like, oh no, I really wanted it to be good and I really wanted it to go to Eurovision. But I was a little bit like, I don't know if this is the song. So what I'm saying is she needs to come second this year, and then RTBF, you need to get her phone number and bring her back next year. So I agree with you. But Sam, what do you think of Désolé?
Yeah, I think pretty much the same, I think. Like, she has topped the Spotify charts and is second with the bookies. I think, conversely, she's a grower, not a shower. I didn't really feel much for it when I first listened, but it's growing on me every time I listen to the studio version. I like it. It's not as flashy though as Strobe Lights and a few of the other female up-tempo entries. So the question is whether it will stand out on the night. But it's certainly quite a funky tune and very high quality, that's for sure.
Yeah, what about you, Flo?
I think it's a good song. I think it's more of a radio song. I don't think it has what it takes for Belgium to be competitive this year. One thing I want to say about Belgium this year, we've got the Flanders broadcaster who do staging a bit better than what a French broadcaster does. So I think this is like if Belgium are going to do well, this is probably more the year rather than next year. But I just don't think this song has that X factor as Strobe Lights does. It's a
It's
good
interesting that
song.
you
It's
describe it
just,
as not, yeah.
as
Sorry,
Sam
Flo.
said, it's a grower, not a shower. You want a shower because people who are going to vote at Eurovision aren't people like us who um, look through these national finals with a microscope. They are people who, well, some don't even watch the semis. They just vote on the night. So you want a shower, and I don't think this song is.
Well, please stop using that metaphor. I'm dying inside.
Sorry.
Um, I agree with that. It's interesting that you describe it as not having what it takes, because I think that undersells this a little bit. I think
Yeah,
this is actually an excellent radio song. There is
yeah,
nothing
that's
wrong
what I
with this
said.
song. And
It's a
as
it's
I
a
will be
great radio
listening,
song.
I will be listening to it for the rest of the year. And I think it's easy to undervalue that in the sense
Mm,
that like this is still clearly a good song. There's nothing wrong with
it
it, and
is
she's a great performer. It's
absolutely.
perhaps in the wrong setting, is where I'd put it. And I'm not sure that I see this making it out of Eurosong or particularly doing much damage at Eurovision, but that's fine. Not every good song needs to be good at Eurovision. But I'm so glad to see her there. I really hope that she does get to go to Eurovision for Belgium eventually. And I'm so pleased to have another addition to my Spotify playlist for this year. Fortunately, Mentissa is not the only act in French this year, so all the weeaboos like me have plenty to celebrate over. And the other song is Le Manu with Fille à Papa. Now, Cooper is very wrong about this song, and I'm very excited to hear about what he's got to say about it. So, Cooper, why don't you tell us about your wrong opinions on this song?
Thank you so much for handing it over. So this is, I'm going to go on a little gay Eurovision rant here. This is my favorite song in national final season. I love it so much. You have your opinion. You say, and I've heard a lot that the lyrics aren't exactly great. The translation. As someone who has no idea what French is, I don't care. It is so good. The sample that it uses, that beat, is just so fun. It is stupid. I translated the lyrics. It's still stupid, and I don't care. It is just like so good. It's my most listened to song of the month. It is just chef's kiss. Back to you.
Thank you for your wrong opinion, Cooper. Sam, I'm curious to hear about what you've got to say about this song as well.
Yeah, sorry, Craig. I'm disagreeing with you and sticking with Cooper tonight. I did say in my ranking comments it was the most sophisticated and original entry in this strong lineup. And then Craig, you did point out the lyrics to me. Sorry, again, I don't speak French. But who doesn't want to be a sugar baby? I mean, every Gen Zer has looked at their bank account and gone, how great would it be to a sugar baby? She's very relatable. And especially in this economy where everything's so expensive, very applicable lyrics.
Mm, the
But no,
cost of
on a
living
serious,
crisis.
yeah,
Thank you,
but no, on
Lamanu,
a
for being our working class hero. Yeah.
But no, on a serious note, it is my favorite of this lineup. I wouldn't say the favorite of mine in the whole national finals, but it's up there. But yes, would be great, as we've said with Mentisa, how cool it would be, for the Flemish broadcaster to bring an entry in French to Eurovision. Great symbolism and unity right there.
Yeah, yeah. And like to be clear, I don't hate this. I think I read it. I think I actually ranked it third in my rankings. So perhaps I'm overhating it a little bit. I just enjoy being hyperbolic and saying, it's awful. But Fleur, what do you think of Le Manu?
Um, as for the lyrics, yeah, they're a little bit on the nose, but hello, my name is Erica. Ich komme. Come on, guys. It's not that bad.
To be
Je parle
clear,
le français petit peu. But um, I like the melody to it, like Sam does. Yes, I do agree the lyrics are a bit trashy, but I mean, there
yeah,
have been worse songs at Eurovision. Come on, you know.
and to be clear, I don't think this song is a moral atrocity or anything.
No,
When I say the lyrics are like bad, I just think they're a bit dumb.
Oh, they
Rather
are
than thinking
dumb.
that they're like, yeah, they are
They're
they are
so dumb.
dumb.
but
But
it's
then also
Yeah.
presented in
like,
a fun way, and
yeah,
fine.
this is
Yeah.
Eurovision. We've had a singing turkey. I'm sorry, we can have a song about a sugar daddy.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
that awful thing from San Marino a couple of years ago, smelly like an animal. I mean, come on.
My issue, hear me out. My issue, and I just want to explain myself here, is less that I think it's a particularly horrible subject or anything. I think this character needs to be played in a particular way. I think when you get the kind of ditzy rich person who doesn't understand what money is and stuff, I think it needs to be clearer that they are like unaware. And I think this kind of needs to be a bit of a conversely to the audience, there needs to be a self-awareness that you're supposed to think this person is ridiculous. I don't get that from Manu in this performance. I get like I'm richer than you. That's good. And I just find it a little bit distasteful and it doesn't really work for me. I hope that she can sell it in a different way on the Sunday night, that maybe I'll be one around because I think this is a really well produced track.
Yep.
I have no criticisms of the actual musicality here and the way that the synths are used and the way that the sampling is used. It's a good song in that respect. I agree with Cooper on that respect. I just find it the character and the lyrics and the personalities that are being portrayed don't quite vibe with me, and it's not something that I enjoy in that sense. Just before we move to our last national final for the evening, it's I think fair to say that Belgium's probably pretty close. I don't know if anyone has a really clear view on who's winning this on Sunday. So I'm really curious to hear from all of you. Who do you think we will be seeing for Belgium in Basel in May? Fleur, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, I think those three songs that we have spoken about are probably the three to watch out for. Um,
They can't send three songs, so I'm
I
going to
know they
need you to
can't
pick
send
one,
three
Fleur.
songs, so I don't think Le Manu will get, you know, as high jury as the other two. Um, uh, it's out the other two for me, really. Now I think about it a bit more, and I'm going for Red Sebastian.
Yeah,
I
I
just
think
think
Le
that
Manu
will
will end
get
up.
both. Mm.
Yeah, I think Le Manu will end up with a similar result to Sherin 2 years ago.
Hmm.
I see that finishing in basically exactly the same place. I feel very confident saying that Red Sebastian is winning this, much as I love Mentissa and I wanted to go to Eurovision. I think Red Sebastian's got this in the bag. Sam, do you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I think, to be honest, as I said earlier, the girls might cancel each other out. Yeah.
That's a fair comment as well, I think. Cooper?
Yeah, if we look at the last Euro song, we can like liken songs to liken songs. This could go the exact same way as it did 2 years ago. Red Sebastian wins with this like real big upbeat number. But if we also do it like that, it was close. Like there was just points between, so it will go anyway. But my vote's going to go to Red Sebastian as well.
And you know what? It's Belgium. So on that basis, I think the winner is actually going to be
Oh
Oh,
no!
please, no,
Glorious.
Next national
no,
final. Next national
no,
final.
From
please,
the sublime to the mediocre,
not that
we are
one.
going to talk about finally EMA 2025 in Slovenia. I love you, Slovenia. I've been. You're a wonderful country. This is not a very exciting lineup of songs. We're going to keep it brief here. I think there's two songs which are really leaping out for the pack for everyone. And I think it's fair to say that they are July Jones and Clemens Sacunia or Savonia. Um, they are both very well known in Slovenia as well as I know, and they are really sort of musically bringing something that I think the other tracks aren't. So to start off with Clement, who has appeared at EMA over a number of years now. Cooper, what do you think of this? Do you think this is a song that's worthy of going to Eurovision?
So I have no idea about emails before we were like, let's have a look. Dived in. I had no idea who this man was. And then I saw that cover photo. He was in Nemo's flamingo top, and I was like, okay, it's a camp little queen. Let's have a watch. And it was like the first line, oh, someone's dying. I was like, what is happening? I was like, sure. I really, yeah, I'm gonna say I hate that song. It is bad. It's bad.
Wow.
It is not good.
Ooh,
It's flat. It's like, yeah, we get it. Death. Like someone's dying. Like, sing it a
Frederick's
bit brighter.
dying.
It's just, but I mean, on saying that, is there any other better options? Meh, maybe not. So for me, meh.
So Cooper's a fan, I think it's fair to say. Sam, what about you? Do you think Clemens got something here?
I don't think I dislike it as much as Cooper. I was pleasantly surprised. Like, no, I didn't say I like it. I thought it was like looking, it had like, I think 2.5 stars on Eurovision World, which is like really bad. So, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. It's a pretty bland ballad. Um, I don't know that I have a really weird intuition. It could pull off the upset. It's just that sort of boring ballad Slovenia sometimes occasionally sends to Eurovision. But I hope I'm proven wrong. He's definitely a better impersonator. He announced the Slovenian Eurovision results back in 2011 and imitated Paul the Octopus, which I'll never forget. But yeah, not a great song.
Yeah, yeah, fair. Fleur, what do you think of Clement? Do you have more love for it than either Cooper or Sam?
Clemen is a Slovenian national treasure and needs to be protected at all costs. He hosted EMA 2020, and you need to watch that opening, Cooper. It was brilliant, and he's a comedian. He's done a few other sort of spoofy songs about other politicians we won't mention, but I was expecting something camp and something, look at me, I'm Clemen, when it was announced that he was going to EMA. But we've got a ballad, which I was not expecting. I don't think this would be a surprise if he won because it's Clement. Everyone in Slovenia knows Clement. He would get in um, for the fact he's Clement. But the song, it's a well-produced ballad. Um, and we'd have to see how many other man ballads do get through if this does go through. Because yeah, he could qualify with that. But yeah, we just haven't had everything yet to compare it to if it does go through.
Yeah.
The other option being July Jones, there's a few girl bops. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I actually think I'm a little bit more bullish on this than any of you. When I first heard the clip for this, I was like, this is terrible. I hate this. This is so cringe. And then I was on the tram this morning and I listened to the whole thing, and I was like, actually, I see the vision. There's storytelling here. Is it a little bit over literal? Is it a little bit cringe? Yes. But I think that I can see this if he stages it right, perhaps attaining a sort of Mikhail Schulte sort of storytelling, like just if I can get the grannies crying in Poland, I think I can see this sort of perhaps having enough firepower, not to come fourth like Mikhail Schulte, but to make it into the final and perhaps come about 18th.
Yep.
I think it's perhaps a little bit disappointing because I was also like Fleur excited to see Clement in the lineup, and I think he is the sort of act who probably could do something really fun for Slovenia. So it wasn't what I was expecting, but when I heard the whole thing, I'm like, I can see what he's shooting for here. I'm sure this is coming from the heart. I'm sure this is probably coming from life experience, and I I I understand how this could perhaps attain a result beyond what I was perhaps initially expecting from the clip. Um, the other act, of course, is July Jones, who's appeared in EMA once before with Girls Can Do Anything. Cooper, do you think that this tops Girls Can Do Anything, or are you thinking that this perhaps doesn't have the same firepower behind it?
I think this, yeah, I think it's pretty similar. I think this is the best option for Slovenia this year. Like this is the song that needs to go. It's still going to struggle at Eurovision because in the lineup of national final songs we have a few similar ones. If some of them get through of just like a good girl, modern, contemporary sounding pop song, this will struggle because it is doesn't have peaks and troughs like other ones do. It is quite linear. So I think this is the best one for Slovenia. I think she could also do something really cool live.
Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add from Cooper. I agree. I think it's the most contemporary sounding song in this otherwise pretty dire lineup. Even if it's not the most original entry. It's crushing a lot of the Eurovision fan polls, and I think the bookmakers have it slightly the favorite over Clement. But yeah, I hope this is the choice because yeah, the best out of not a very good bunch. Yeah.
Fleur.
I think it's the safest choice. It's nothing special. Um, would it qualify? I don't know. Because yeah, it's nothing special. It's fairly basic. It's by the numbers. So there's nothing. Look, if it gets through, there's nothing that's going to save it for me for Eurovision. Put it that way. You know, it could go very well the way of Raven if it qualifies.
Yeah, I actually have a bit of a different take. I would rather listen to New Religion, which is July Jones's song, than I would rather listen to Clemen's song. But I actually think that I can see Clement. I can see the audience for Clement. It's not my audience, but I can see
Yeah,
how that perhaps gets the grannies crying, as I mentioned. I don't see who's voting for this. It's a nice song. I will listen to it. It's going into my playlist.
yeah,
If it makes it through, I don't see how it is hopeless. I have no vision for it making the final. Clement, I see the vision.
yeah.
It's not a song that I will be listening to again, but I see how on a night in a semi-final setting, there is a market for that. And so for that reason, I will say that I like July Jones. Please come back. I would like them to internally select her one year, a la Raven, and so she can really go crazy creatively. I don't see how this song has any hope to make it out of a Eurovision semi-final. Last question before we finish up for the evening. We've got July, we've got Clement. Tell me which of them you think will win and which of them you would prefer to win. Fleur.
I think not because I like the song, but I think Slovenia have a better chance with Clement at Eurovision. As you said
Mhm.
earlier, I think there's more possibilities with staging for it to shine that little bit more. With July Jones, I can see it getting a bit lost. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, the
Sam.
others, yeah, sorry, I was going to say the other song that I think everyone needs to watch is Frederick's Dead. I want to see the staging for this. It's not going to get through, but I need to see the staging.
Yeah, I've listened to a clip for that one and it sounds a bit insane. But just before we finish up, Sam, who will win? Who do you want to win?
Well, I want July Jones to win, but I think Clement will take out the bag. But Anna could be a dark horse. Yeah.
Very fair. Cooper.
I think this is just a Titanic situation for Slovenia. We are just choosing the song that's going to go down with the ship. I'm going to say July, obviously, and I think July would do better.
I think July is my preferred song, but I will be picking Clement as the one that I think has very slightly more hopes to make it out of a Eurovision
Yep.
semi-final. That's what we think. Very curious to hear what everyone else thinks. Please let us know what you think about Benidorm Fest, Eurosong, and EMA down in the comments below. Sam, Cooper, Flo, it has been an absolute joy to catch up and to talk about these national finals with you. And very excited to wake up at some ungodly hour on Sunday to watch them all. Thanks, everyone. Catch you later.
Bye
Bye now.
bye.
Bye.